The Deep Space Radar Station on Moon Base Alpha picked up the first signs at 3:47 a.m. Earth Standard Time. Tom Wilson, the night shift operator, almost missed it between sips of his coffee. The blips appeared at the edge of the solar system, small, fast-moving objects that shouldn't have been there. Control, this is Moon Base Alpha. We have multiple unknowns entering the system, Tom reported, his fingers flying across the holographic display. Speed is. That can't be right. He double-checked the readings. They're moving at near light speed. The response from Earth Control came instantly. No panic, no surprise. Just a simple, understood. Initiating Protocol Omega. Within minutes, sirens wailed across every major city on Earth. But these weren't the chaotic scenes from old disaster movies. People moved with purpose, following well-rehearsed steps. Children lined up behind their teachers, families gathered their emergency bags, and workers calmly left their offices. In New York, the massive steel doors of the underground shelters opened smoothly, their mechanisms maintained and tested weekly for the past 50 years. In Tokyo, entire neighborhoods descended into subterranean cities built to house millions. Beneath the streets of London, trains carried people to deep bunkers originally built during the Cold War, but secretly expanded and modernized. James Miller watched from the Central Military Command bunker in Colorado as the objects entered Earth's atmosphere. As head of Earth Defense, he had trained for this moment his entire career. The large screen showed the incoming trajectories: New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, and Tokyo. All cities report shelter status green, his assistant reported. 97% of the population is secured underground. James nodded, his face showing no surprise at the efficiency. Begin recording, he ordered. The history books will want to know how humanity faced its first alien attack. The impacts came like artificial shooting stars. The objects struck their targets with devastating precision, but found only empty cities, where millions should have died. The casualties numbered in mere hundreds, those who had ignored the warnings or waited too long. In the command bunker, James activated the global communication system. His voice reached every shelter, every bunker, every safe zone across the planet. Citizens of Earth, today we face what we have long prepared for. 50 years ago, our leaders made a choice. When we discovered we were not alone, when we found the alien probes watching us, we could have panicked. Instead, we prepared. The screens showed the aftermath of the attacks. Buildings lay in ruins, but beneath them, humanity remained safe and organized. In the shelters, children played in designated areas, while adults gathered around screens to watch the emergency broadcast. Some of you may feel afraid. That's natural. But know this, everything that has happened today was expected. The underground cities you now occupy weren't built in panic. The food stores that will feed us weren't gathered in haste. The defense systems now activating weren't designed in fear. Above ground, hidden installations began to emerge. Missile silos opened, revealing weapons far more advanced than anything publicly known. Orbital platforms shed their civilian disguises, transforming into battle stations. To those watching from above, you thought to find us helpless. You thought to find us unprepared. Instead, you will find humanity ready. We have waited patiently, building our strength, preparing our defenses. This was not the day you caught humanity by surprise. This was the day humanity finally showed its true face. In shelters across the world, people stood straighter, their fear turning to determination. They had drilled for this, prepared for this, known this day would come. To our children, do not be afraid. To our citizens, stand ready. To our enemies above, we have one message: we are humanity. We have been waiting for you, and we are ready. As James finished speaking, the first alien ships appeared in orbit. But they didn't find a panicked, disorganized planet. Instead, they faced a humanity that had spent half a century preparing for this exact moment. The real battle was about to begin, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy why they should have never been underestimated. The massive steel doors of Project Guardian's main facility opened for the first time in 20 years. Located 2 miles beneath the Rocky Mountains, the base stretched for miles in every direction. As James Miller led the United Earth Council through the facility, their footsteps echoed off walls lined with technology that shouldn't have existed. In 1947, it wasn't a weather balloon that crashed in Roswell, James explained, his voice steady. It was an alien probe, the first proof we weren't alone. But our leaders made a choice that changed history. They kept it secret. The council members stared at the preserved probe behind thick glass. It looked primitive now compared to the technology surrounding it, but it had started everything. The probe contained star maps, James continued, leading them deeper into the facility. It showed us exactly who was watching us and from where. Instead of announcing it to the world, instead of causing panic, we began to prepare. They entered a vast chamber filled with rows of captured alien technology. Each piece had been studied, taken apart, and improved upon. Weapons, shields, and engines that mixed alien knowledge with human innovation. Project Guardian wasn't just about defense, James explained as screens lit up around them showing satellite images. We've had our own probes in their territory for decades. We know their worlds, their weaknesses, their technologies. Every time they thought they were studying us, we were studying them. In orbit, the alien ships had formed an attack pattern. They expected to face primitive planetary defenses. Instead, hidden stations across Earth's surface activated their shields. Technology reversed engineered from that first probe and improved over decades. The aliens' first attack bounced harmlessly off the shield. In the command center, technicians worked calmly at their stations. This wasn't their first drill. It was just the first time they'd used live ammunition. Show them defense pattern Alpha, James ordered. Across Earth's surface, hidden silos opened. But these weren't simple missile launchers. These were gravity weapons, designed using the aliens' own technology. The weapons fired, and several alien ships found themselves pulled apart by forces they thought humanity couldn't possibly control. They thought we were decades behind them, James told the council as they watched the battle unfold. They never realized we'd been using their own technology against them all along. In a secure room, technicians activated the quantum communications array, another piece of technology humanity shouldn't have had. The aliens secured channels filled with static as Earth's systems broke through their encryptions. We learned their language decades ago, James explained. Every transmission, every signal they sent, we caught it all. We know how they think, how they fight, how they strategize. The alien fleet regrouped, clearly shocked by Earth's level of technology. Their transmissions, intercepted and translated in real time, showed their confusion and growing concern. But our greatest advantage, James said, leading the council to the heart of the facility, isn't their technology. It's what we built ourselves. The central chamber housed the AI core, completely human-made, designed from scratch rather than copied from alien tech. It processed battle strategies faster than any alien computer, predicting and countering their every move. Humanity's strength was never in copying their technology, James stated as they watched the aliens retreat from their first attack. Our strength was in understanding it, improving it, and most importantly, keeping our progress hidden until the right moment. Above them, the alien fleet pulled back to regroup. They had expected an easy victory over a primitive world. Instead, they faced an enemy that had spent decades preparing, learning, and building in secret. In shelters across the world, humans watched through virtual displays as their defenses held strong. Children who had grown up drilling for this day saw their preparation pay off. This wasn't just about surviving the alien attack. It was about showing the galaxy that humanity had never been the easy target they thought. As the first wave of aliens retreated, James turned to the council. This is just the beginning. Now we show them what humanity can really do. The hidden shield had worked perfectly. But it was only the first part of humanity's carefully laid plans. The ruins of New York stood silent in the morning mist. Broken buildings reached toward the sky like jagged teeth, their windows shattered from the initial attack. But beneath the destruction, hidden sensors watched and waited. "They're coming," James announced from the command center. Ground forces, just as predicted. The alien ships descended through the clouds, their massive forms casting shadows over the empty city. They had chosen New York for their first ground assault, expecting to find survivors hiding in the ruins. Landing craft touched down in Central Park, their doors opening to release waves of armored troops. "Let them get comfortable," James ordered, watching through thousands of hidden cameras. "Let them think they have the advantage." The alien soldiers moved through the streets in perfect formation, their weapons raised. They checked buildings, scanned for life signs, and found nothing. No resistance, no defenders, no signs of humanity at all. Their confidence grew with each empty block. Then the trap was sprung. The ground beneath Central Park split open. Hidden platforms rose from underground, carrying human troops wearing powered armor that looked suspiciously similar to the aliens' own designs, but better. The aliens froze in shock, recognizing elements of their own technology integrated seamlessly with human innovations. "All units engage," James commanded. "Show them what we've learned." The battle that followed was nothing like what the aliens expected. The humans didn't fight like primitive warriors. Their tactics showed intimate knowledge of alien weak points, their weapons designed specifically to pierce alien armor. Captain Robert Thompson led the ground forces, his powered armor moving like a second skin. "Remember your training," he told his troops through the comm system. "Everything we've prepared for happens now." The aliens tried to call for air support, but their signals met only static. Human jamming technology, reversed engineered from their own systems, blocked every transmission. They were cut off, surrounded, and facing an enemy that fought with terrifying efficiency. In the command center, James watched the tactical display as human forces emerged from hidden bunkers throughout the city. "Activate the gravity nets," he ordered. The aliens suddenly found themselves struggling to move as localized gravity fields, technology they thought humans couldn't possibly possess, pinned them down. Their advanced weapons, their superior armor, all meant nothing when they could barely lift their feet from the ground. "Did you think we spent 50 years doing nothing?" Captain Thompson's voice boomed across the battlefield, transmitted directly into the aliens' communication systems. "Every piece of technology you left behind, every probe you sent, every transmission you broadcast, we studied them all." The alien forces tried to retreat, but found themselves caught in a carefully laid trap. Buildings that seemed broken were actually disguised weapon platforms. Streets that appeared empty concealed energy barriers. Every piece of debris had been deliberately placed to funnel them exactly where humanity wanted them. "Circle formation," Captain Thompson ordered. His troops moved with practiced precision, their movements showing years of drilling and preparation. They had trained for this exact scenario countless times. The aliens fought back desperately, but they were fighting an enemy that knew all their tactics, all their strategies, all their weaknesses. Human weapons found gaps in their armor that shouldn't have been visible. Human shields absorbed energy blasts using the aliens' own technology against them. In just 2 hours, the battle was over. The alien ground force, their first major invasion attempt, lay defeated in the ruins of New York. Not a single human life was lost. James activated the global communication system again. "To all Earth citizens, the first ground battle has been won. Our preparations were not in vain. Our patience has paid off." In the shelters, people celebrated their first major victory. Children who had grown up hearing about the secret preparations finally saw them in action. This wasn't just a defensive win. It was proof that humanity could fight back. As the dust settled over New York, Captain Thompson's troops began collecting alien weapons and technology. Not to study them. They already understood how they worked, but to show the aliens just how complete humanity's preparation had been. "Send the signal," James ordered. It was time for the next phase of humanity's plan, showing the aliens just how badly they had underestimated Earth. Deep within Project Guardian's communication center, technicians made final adjustments to the quantum broadcast array. The massive device, built from a combination of human and reverse-engineered alien technology, was capable of transmitting messages across the entire solar system. James stood before the main camera, his uniform crisp and perfect. Behind him, screens showed the alien fleet regrouping near Mars after their defeat in New York. The time had come to reveal just how thoroughly humanity had prepared for this moment. "Begin transmission," he ordered. "All frequencies, their language, their encryption." The message went out not just in the aliens' standard communication protocols, but in all their secret frequencies, channels they thought humans couldn't possibly know about. The aliens' own communication systems lit up with Earth's broadcast, impossible to ignore or block. James spoke, his words automatically translated into the alien language. "To the invasion fleet currently occupying our solar system, we've been expecting you." In the command center, operators watched as the alien ships suddenly stopped all movement, their transmissions filled with confusion and disbelief as James continued. 50 years ago, you sent your first probe to study us. You thought we were primitive, barely able to reach our own moon. You never wondered why we stopped broadcasting our military advancements. You never questioned why our technology seemed to develop so slowly in public. The screen showed holographic maps of not just Earth's solar system, but dozens of alien worlds. Detailed scans and information scrolled past, revealing military installations, defensive capabilities, and fleet movements that the aliens thought were completely secret. While you watched us, we watched you. Every world, every base, every ship movement, we know them all. Your encryption, we broke it decades ago. Your secure bases, we mapped them years ago. Your military capabilities, we've prepared countermeasures for each one. In orbit, more hidden platforms activated, revealing Earth's true defensive capabilities. The alien fleet found themselves surrounded by weapons they recognized, because they were improved versions of their own designs. The technology you saw today in New York, that was just the beginning. We haven't been copying your advancements. We've been improving them. Everything you thought was beyond our capabilities, we mastered years ago. The message continued, demonstrating humanity's knowledge by broadcasting on frequencies that hadn't even been used yet. Frequencies the aliens had planned to switch to if their primary communications were compromised. "Right now, you're wondering how to switch to your emergency channels," James said, a slight smile forming. "Don't bother. We already control those too. You're probably also considering calling for reinforcements from the fleet hidden behind Jupiter. They can't help you. We've known about them since they arrived." The alien transmissions became frantic as they realized their backup forces had indeed been discovered. Hidden human sensors around Jupiter activated, revealing their exact positions. "We are not the primitive species you thought we were. We are not helpless, and we are not unprepared. We are humanity, and we have spent 50 years getting ready for this moment." James paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. The screen showed alien ships turning toward each other, their formations breaking down in confusion. "You have a choice to make. You can continue this invasion and face an enemy that knows all your tactics, all your technology, and all your weaknesses. Or you can withdraw, return to your worlds, and acknowledge that Earth is not a target. We are a power to be respected." The command center fell silent as James delivered the final part of humanity's message. "You have 6 Earth hours to begin your withdrawal. After that, we will demonstrate capabilities we haven't shown yet, capabilities that your intelligence has never even dreamed of. This is not a negotiation. This is not a plea. This is humanity's first and final warning." The transmission ended, leaving the alien fleet in chaos, their secure channels filled with urgent discussions, debates, and for the first time, fear. They had come expecting to find an easy target. Instead, they found an enemy that had spent decades preparing specifically for them. In shelters around the world, humans watched and waited. The next 6 hours would show whether the aliens had truly understood humanity's message. We are not your prey. We never were. 5 hours had passed since humanity's ultimatum. In the alien fleet's command ship, Admiral Kex stared at the data screens in disbelief. Every backup plan, every secret protocol, every hidden strategy they had prepared was already known to the humans. But how? The answer came in the form of another transmission from Earth. This time, the message began with images. Images from inside alien military bases across their home systems. Images that should have been impossible for humans to obtain. In the Project Guardian command center, James watched the aliens' reactions through their own security systems. "Show them Phase 2, he ordered. The transmission continued, displaying footage from 30 years ago. It showed human agents walking freely through alien facilities, wearing perfectly crafted disguises. The aliens had never noticed that some of their own workers, their own soldiers, had been humans in disguise. Your arrogance was your weakness. James's voice echoed through the alien ships. You were so convinced of your superiority that you never thought to look closer at your own people." Admiral Kex's hands shook as he watched the footage. Human spies had been among them for decades, learning their technology, their protocols, their weaknesses. Every secret they thought they had was compromised. "Your computers were the next to fall," James continued. The screens showed human quantum systems breaking through alien encryptions like they were made of paper. Did you really think we couldn't crack codes that haven't changed in 50 years? In the alien fleet, ships began experiencing system failures. Weapons wouldn't respond. Navigation systems showed incorrect data. Their own technology was turning against them. "We aren't just watching your ships," James explained. "We're inside them. Every system, every computer, every piece of technology you have. We can control it all." To prove his point, the lights on the alien ships flickered in perfect sequence, creating the simple message in their own language. "We own you." The alien commanders tried to switch to manual controls, but found those compromised too. Decades of human infiltration had left no system untouched, no technology uncompromised. In the Project Guardian facility, technicians monitored the aliens' desperate attempts to regain control. They had trained for years for this moment, running simulations of exactly this scenario. "Your ships have 5 engine types," James continued. "We've studied them all. Your weapons have 12 different power sources. We can disable each one. Your shields have 23 frequency variations. We can bypass them all." To demonstrate, human controllers briefly disabled and then reactivated systems across the alien fleet. Not enough to endanger lives, just enough to prove they could. Admiral Kex received urgent messages from his superiors back home. Their own defense systems were reporting vulnerabilities. Their secure databases were being accessed by unknown sources. The humans hadn't just infiltrated the invasion fleet. They had compromised the aliens' entire civilization. 1 hour remains in our ultimatum, James reminded them. In that time, consider this. Everything you've seen today was just a fraction of our capabilities. Do you really want to discover what else we've prepared? The alien fleet hung motionless in space, their commanders facing a terrible realization. They had spent decades studying humanity, but humans had spent those same decades studying them, and had done a far better job of it. In Earth's shelters, people watched through virtual displays as the alien ships drifted in confusion. Children who had grown up hearing stories about alien invaders saw those same aliens paralyzed by human ingenuity. "We've accessed your historical records," James added, delivering the final psychological blow. "We know about the 17 other civilizations you've conquered. We know how you defeated them. We know why they failed where we succeeded. They weren't ready for you. We were." As the last hour of the ultimatum began to tick away, The alien fleet faced a choice they had never encountered before. They could retreat, accepting their first defeat in centuries, or they could fight an enemy that knew them better than they knew themselves. The mind game was over. Now they had to decide if they wanted to see what humanity could really do when pushed to war. The ultimatum expired. Admiral Kex made his choice. The alien fleet surged forward in a desperate final assault, thousands of ships moving as one. If they were going to lose, they would at least show humanity their full military might. In Project Guardian's command center, James watched the approaching armada with calm eyes. They chose to learn the hard way, he said. Activate the planetary defense grid. Around Earth, hidden installations emerged from oceans, mountains, and deserts. But these weren't just weapon platforms. Each station extended a field of energy, connecting to form a web around the planet. What you're seeing, James broadcast to the alien fleet, is something we created ourselves. Not copied, not stolen, not reversed engineered. This is pure human innovation. The aliens fired their weapons. Planet-killing beams of energy struck Earth's new shield. But instead of impacting or being deflected, the energy simply vanished. In the command center, power levels actually rose. Your weapons use energy, James explained. Energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transformed. That's basic physics, something humans understand very well. The alien fleet watched in horror as their attacks not only failed to harm Earth but seemed to make its defenses stronger. The shield grew brighter with each blast absorbed. For 50 years, we didn't just study your technology, James continued. We went beyond it. You harness energy. We learned to transform it. At his signal, the defense grid activated its second phase. All the energy absorbed from the alien attack was redirected, transformed, and sent back out, not as destructive beams, but as waves of system-disrupting power that washed over the alien fleet. Ships began shutting down, their advanced technology overwhelmed by the pure converted energy. No explosions, no destruction. Just the complete neutralization of their offensive capabilities. Admiral Kex stared at his dead control panels. Across the fleet, ship after ship lost power. Even their backup systems, designed to survive any attack, couldn't handle this entirely new form of warfare. This is humanity's true strength, James announced. Not our ability to copy your technology, but our ability to understand it, improve it, and ultimately move beyond it. From Earth's surface, millions watched through their shelter screens as the mighty alien armada drifted helplessly in space. The ships that had brought terror to countless worlds were now powerless before human ingenuity. In a final demonstration, human ships emerged from hidden docks around the planet. They didn't look like alien vessels. They were entirely human in design, shaped by decades of understanding both alien technology and human potential. Your ships travel through space, James said. Ours can bend it. To prove his point, the human vessels seemed to flicker and shift, appearing instantly at different points around the alien fleet, not through conventional movement, but through humanity's understanding of space itself. Your weapons fire energy. Ours control it. The human ships released small drones that attached to the powerless alien vessels, restoring minimal power, but under human control. Your technology conquers. Ours transforms. With precise coordination, the human ships created a containment field around the entire alien fleet, holding them in place without causing any harm. Admiral Kex received a private transmission in his command ship. It showed images of human technological development over the past 50 years. Not the public version, but the real one. He saw how humans had taken each alien concept and pushed it in new, unexpected directions. We could destroy your fleet, James said, but that's not humanity's way. We don't seek to conquer or destroy. We simply want you to understand one important truth. We are not, and never were, your prey. The alien admiral looked at the helpless ships of his fleet, at the advanced human vessels surrounding them, at the impenetrable shield protecting Earth. In all his years of conquest, he had never seen anything like this. As the human ships maintained their positions, James delivered the final message. Now, shall we discuss terms for a peaceful future? 1 month after the failed invasion, the Grand Meeting Hall of Project Guardian hosted an historic gathering. Human leaders sat on one side of the massive table, while alien representatives, including a humbled Admiral Kex, sat on the other. James stood at the head of the table, his presence commanding respect from both sides. The walls showed real-time images of Earth's cities emerging from their shelters, rebuilding with amazing speed using a combination of human and alien technology. "Let's begin with our terms," James said, his voice firm but not unkind. "First, Earth will be recognized as a protected, independent world, free from any outside control or influence." Admiral Kex nodded. After seeing humanity's true capabilities, no one would dare challenge Earth's independence again. The images of their defeated fleet still drifted in space, a reminder of human power. "Second," James continued, "we will share our technological advancements with your civilization, including our improvements on your own technology. But this sharing will go both ways." The alien representatives looked surprised. They had expected punishment, restrictions, maybe even reparations. Instead, humans were offering cooperation and mutual growth. "You wonder why we offer friendship after you attacked us?" James asked, seeing their confusion. "Because that's humanity's greatest strength. We don't just learn from victory. We learn from every experience." Screens around the room displayed new designs, ships, stations, and technologies that combined the best of both civilizations. Human innovation mixed with alien experience, creating something greater than either could achieve alone. "Your people have explored space for centuries," James explained. "You've seen wonders we can only imagine. We don't want to shut ourselves off from that knowledge. We want to learn, to grow, to explore alongside you." In orbit, human engineers were already helping repair the alien fleet, teaching them about the new energy transformation technology that had rendered their weapons useless. The aliens learned that humans took no pleasure in seeing their ships drift powerless. "But understand this," James added, his tone becoming serious. "Any future aggression against Earth will be met with the full force of our capabilities. What you saw during the invasion was only a fraction of what we can do." Admiral Kex spoke for the first time since the meeting began. "How?" he asked simply. "How did your people advance so far without us noticing?" James smiled. "Because we understood something you forgot. True strength isn't about having the most powerful weapons. It's about having the wisdom to know when to show your power and when to hide it." The meeting continued as both sides worked out the details of their new relationship. Trade routes were established, cultural exchanges were planned, and joint scientific missions were proposed. In the shelters below, humans watched the proceedings with pride. Children who had grown up preparing for war now saw the promise of peace and cooperation. The underground cities began transforming into centers of learning, where humans and aliens could share knowledge. "One last thing," James said as the meeting drew to a close. "We want this story told throughout the galaxy, not as a tale of human victory, but as a lesson about underestimating others, about looking past appearances to see true potential." The alien representatives agreed. Already, news was spreading across their worlds about the civilization that had turned their invasion into an opportunity for peace, about the humans who had spent 50 years preparing not just for war, but for the peace that would follow. As the sun set on that historic day, James stood at a window overlooking the rebuilt New York skyline. The city now showed signs of both human and alien architecture, a symbol of their new cooperation. "We were never meant to be enemies," he said to Admiral Kex, who stood beside him. "We were meant to learn from each other." The Admiral nodded, watching ships from both civilizations move peacefully through the sky. "You never needed our technology," he realized. "You needed us to understand that you had surpassed it." Above them, Earth's defense grid remained active, not as a threat, but as a reminder. Humanity stood ready to defend itself, but also ready to extend a hand in friendship. The message was clear across the galaxy. Earth was not a target, not a prize to be conquered. It was a civilization that had earned its place among the stars through patience, preparation, and the wisdom to know that true strength lies not in conquest, but in understanding.